you said you are a voracious reader. You love to read books and you read 50 pages, if I'm not mistaken, last time.
Yes.
Which book are you reading these days? One is that to think about something else other than the content. That's the one of the most prominent mistakes. The moment you start thinking anything else other than the content, you'll get anxious. You won't be able to convey yourself properly. The second one is they try to impress the person. If I'm sitting in front of you, I'll try to only speak out my thought. I won't try to use some fancy words or something to impress.
So how do we deal with negative feedbacks? Because when we are learning something, so we are going to get feedback, sometimes some negative feedback, sometimes positive. So when we get negative feedback or criticism, so that time we lose our confidence. So how do we deal with negative feedback or criticism without losing confidence?
Okay, so tell me, how have you been and how did you spend your day today?
Yeah, my day was good and I spent it well. It was productive. And how about yours? And first of all, welcome to the session. Welcome to my channel.
Thank you for that. Delighted to be with you today. It's my pleasure to be with you in on your channel. So last time we could not make it happen because of the laggy internet. So
Hmm.
if this time my video lags or my voice muffles a bit, you may stop so that I will not speak further. My
Okay.
day has been pretty casual. As you know, I give sessions, so throughout the day I kept giving session. Couldn't do anything else other than that.
Okay, great, great. So I know about you, but for my audience, I want you to introduce yourself so that they can know about you.
Sure, I would love to introduce myself again. As you know, my name is Faz. I come from north central part of India, that is Uttar Pradesh, and I'm a TEFL certified English trainer and have been teaching online for last 2 years. I teach spoken English, communication, and various other stuffs. And along with that, I have been pursuing a couple of certifications like Teach to Trainer, Teach to Young Learner Certification, Business English. So that's
Hmm.
little about me.
Okay, great. Okay, so I have decided one topic I wanted to discuss with you. So, if you allow me, so can I ask some questions?
Sure, I would love to.
Okay, so I have a topic in my mind that is related to confidence. So, according to you, what does it truly mean to be confident?
Confidence, if you generally asking me confidence in terms of speaking, then I would say confidence is something that helps you articulate yourself, helps you
Hmm.
verbalize yourself. So, and you probably ask, and that's a later question. That's the second question will come on that later. That is how we can build the confidence. First, let's define what is confidence. Confidence is the same as I said. It basically allows you to articulate yourself effectively.
Hmm.
Now, how we can build confidence? It is a two-way process. The first one is
Hmm.
that knowledge and then reputation. And people
Right.
often have the confusion that confidence means only gathering the knowledge. It's not only limited to knowledge, it's also about the reputation of the knowledge that you have. Unless you try to speak out what you know, you won't be able to get the feedback. And feedback is quite important to gain that knowledge. Mm.
Correct, correct, correct. And there are so many people who are very, very good at English, but still they are not confident. So I just want to know from you, why do some people seem naturally confident and while others struggling in it? Even they are knowledgeable, but still they are struggling. But some people, they don't speak very good English, but still they are very, very confident. They are naturally confident. So why it
Yeah,
happens?
like politicians. They are not well read, they are not well qualified, but still they are well spoken because they
Yeah.
have repeatedly did one thing multiple times.
Hmm.
And I've seen multiple politicians around me. They are quite good at speaking skills. Although they are not well read, they don't know much. But if you give them the chance to deliver a speech or give an extempore, they will literally crack it. So how they do this? Because they have mastered this over time. With the
Hmm.
period, with the course of time, they have done this multiple times, and we know the fact that uh, when we want to try out and learn something new, we have to repeat that same activity multiple times.
Hmm.
So why we know how to write with our right hand? Because we have repeatedly tried to write with our right hand multiple times. If
Hmm.
I ask you to write with your left hand, you might not be able to do that because you have never tried yourself, never convinced yourself to write with your left hand. So
Hmm.
due to that, they are not, or maybe people are not able to speak out what they know. Even if they are well read, they are unable to give or deliver a great speech. Whereas there are some not well educated people. They know less, but they are still they are good at giving an extempore or a
Hmm.
prompt speech because they have mastered it over time.
Hmm. Yes, correct. And it is all about mindset and experience. What some people have in their mind, other person is going to judge me. But some people they don't think about others. They just want to express themselves, and they in their mind they feel, yeah, I'm very much confident. I can speak very well, and that mindset make them very confident person, like as I feel. It's my opinion on it.
That's right. They have been conditioned in that way since
Hmm.
their childhood. You see people in our classroom, sometimes they are good at speaking skills because they would have tried that speaking skills since their childhood. They have grown in that way. And we could not get that sort of environment, or our parents didn't condition or train ourselves in that way. So that's
Hmm.
also an effect.
Yeah, and self doubt also come in the picture when we talk about confidence, because they don't have a confidence just because of self doubt. They have a doubt on themselves. If I will make mistake, I am not good at English. I'm not uh, I'm not looking well. There are so many doubts. Maybe that is also a reason,
Mhm.
as I observe people. Okay, so what are some effective ways to overcome fear and self-doubt, if you can share your thoughts on it?
Sure. We have recently seen this happening with a lot of my students that they ask me the same question, that how they can overcome fear while speaking, while giving a presentation, even in office meeting and stuff like that. So there are three common mistakes that I've noticed that they often make. First one is that they think about something else other than the content. That's the one of the most prominent mistakes. The moment you start thinking anything else other than the content, you'll get anxious. You won't be able to convey yourself properly. The second one is they try to impress the person. If I'm sitting in front of you, I'll try to only speak out my thought. I won't try to use some fancy words or something to impress. So
Hmm.
that's the second thing. Third one is they use fancy terms, jargons, industry jargons to make the speech coherent, or maybe to sound more confident. So that also makes the conversation more chaotic. Use as simple language as you can. Try to focus more on expressing rather than impressing.
Hmm.
So these are the few mistakes, or the three common mistakes that I have noticed in people. They have to get over these three things, and they'll generally be confident. It will obviously come with repetition. The more they try, the better they'll become.
Correct, correct. And you mentioned it really well. The three things you mentioned, yeah, these are the things people are suffering from. Okay, so the next thing is, how do we deal with negative feedbacks? Because when we are learning something, so we are going to get feedback, sometimes some negative feedback, sometimes positive. So when we get negative feedback or criticism, so that time we lose our confidence. So, how do we deal with negative feedback or criticism without losing confidence?
Mhm. So, while pursuing my TEFL course, teaching course, I got to learn some things very interesting. That the types of feedback. There are variety of feedbacks. So even feedback is nothing wrong. If someone gives you feedback, you should be appreciative. You should appreciate the person, because there are not many people around us who give us feedback. If you commit some mistake and your parents stops you, your parents gives you feedback, there is nothing wrong in that. It will get better.
Yeah.
Constructive feedback is important. If someone gives you some, if someone tells you about your mistakes, what's wrong in that? You will eventually improve. But if
Hmm.
someone actually points out mistakes, he points out the inner feeling of yours and tries to hurt you. Instead of, his intent is not to improve, but his intent is to hurt you. Then
Hmm.
it will surely make an issue in the conversation. So feedback is basically, unless you speak out something, you won't get a feedback. So you have to take action. So people around you will take a look on your content or on your word, and they'll give you feedback. So
Hmm.
constructive feedback is important, and you have to be mindful with that what the person says. If he's talking about your content, then that's well and good. He would surely give you something valuable. But if he's making personal feedback, he's not talking about your content, he's talking about yourself. Instead of looking at the person's content, he's talking about the person himself. Then it
Hmm.
won't make any great change, and you should not take it. Should not take it seriously. Take it easy. You may ignore what the person said, or do not give a shit about what he said. So that is how I take, and that's what I tell people, that do not literally care about what others says if he is making a personal comment. If they are
Hmm.
making a comment on your content, then that's well and good. You can take it positively. And also, what I see is that if the comment is coming from various people, if large number of people saying the same stuff, then obviously that could be a wrong thing. You're
Hmm.
making videos and maybe hundreds of people watching your videos and literally saying the same thing on your comment section. And that could be right, because
Yeah.
a huge amount of people making the same comment.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. And like there are some learner like if I correct them, I started teaching. So whenever I correct them, if I say you have to work upon your grammar, specifically on past tense. So whenever I ask them again about that particular portion, I ask them, tell me something about your childhood. So they become very very much conscious about that particular tense, and again they become they become underconfident, and again they are going to make a lot of mistake. Even they were not making that much mistake, but now because they are conscious, they know they are this tense is their weak area, so now they become more conscious and they start making a lot of mistakes. So how we do deal with this situation, how we can deal with this situation, that is also difficult. But when I give them feedback, so they become conscious and they start making a lot of mistakes. So how can I deal with them?
Yeah, first identify the type of learners. There are four types of learners, and as you said that you were UGC net aspirant, so you must be aware of it. There
Yeah.
are four types of it: VAKT, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, tactile. We all
Hmm.
know what are visual and auditory learners. Visual learners are the ones who learn more by watching more content, by watching videos. Auditory learners are the ones who get to learn by listening.
By listening. Yeah.
Then kinesthetic learners are the ones who actually perform the activity, then they get to learn more. That doesn't
Hmm.
mean they can't learn by video or audio, but that's
Hmm.
their personal choice, or that's their intuitive way of learning.
Hmm.
Then tactile learners are the ones who touch and feel, then they get to learn more. In ESL class, English as a second language class, tactile means read and write. Okay.
Yeah.
So first identify the learner type, what type of learner he is, and how he gets to learn more. If we get to learn more via videos, then show him such content, or show him some flashcard or some colorful, vibrant pictures, and ask him to speak on it. Maybe he'll
Okay.
try to think much and try to visualize what he wants, and then he'll be able to speak up. If he's an auditory learner, then ask him to consume more content. Start with stories or some podcasts, some speeches. So he'll easily grasp the knowledge. If he's a kinesthetic learner, then ask him to use the language. Ask him
Mm.
to make more conversations. If he's a tactile, then obviously ask him to read and write. So this is the technique, and that is how I recently gave a test, and I got to know that I'm an auditory learner. I get to learn more when I listen. That doesn't mean I can't get to learn more via videos, or I can't learn by reading and writing. But that's my natural preference. I love to listen more, and I'm an excellent listener. I absorb more. I focus more what the other person says. So
Mm.
identify the learning type of the person and then take the steps forward, because you can't ask a fish to climb a tree.
Correct, correct. Yes, correct. Yeah, that is true. And I have to try according to their need. That is true. Okay. So, my last question for you. What role does body language play in appearing and feeling confident?
It's also a part of communication. We
Hmm.
often get baffled and think as if between English and communication. So English is merely a language. That is an effective or way of communication. Likewise, there are other ways of communication, like hand gesture that I'm using. So it's also a part of communication. Body language, it's also a part of communication. Signaling, okay, my facial expression, it's also a part of communication. These all are the integral part of communication. Back in the days when we were cavemen, we didn't have a language. There was no English, right? So we had certain ways to communicate. We used to carve on rocks. We used to inscript on rocks to communicate. We used to make some, or the caveman used to make some voices, noises to let the other person know what he wants to say. So these all were the part of communication, right?
Hmm.
Gradually, language came in existence. Then language were made like Hindi, Sanskrit. Back in the days, there were different language, ancient languages were there, right?
Hmm.
So body language is a part of communication. When we say being good at communication, we mean communication as a whole, language as well as body language, means verbal as well as non-verbal skills. So here, what happens when it comes to this online setting? Verbal language is more than enough. No one gonna see your complete body and would assess how you look or how confident you are. They'll
Yeah.
probably look at your face. Max to max, they look at your facial expressions or verbal or the vocabularies you use or the way you form the sentences. But when you are on a professional setting, when you go to give a speech offline, when you are delivering a speech, when you are in an interview, then this non-verbal skills will come to the place and it will plays a vital role. Sorry, we got a call. So there we
Yes.
have to improve our body language. So there it plays a significant role.
Mm, yes.
So
Okay.
hopefully I gave you the answer.
Yes. Okay. So, do you have any question for me? I have done with
Yeah,
my question.
I wanted to ask you various questions, but now I have a session at 8:30. But let me ask you this question. That you said you are a voracious reader. You love to read books and you read 50 pages, if I'm not mistaken, last time.
Yes.
Which book are you reading these days?
Yes. Nowadays, I'm reading Atomic Habits. So, most probably, I will complete it today itself. Then I want to read that Psychology of Money and Rich Dad and Poor Dad. So these two books I already bought, and yeah, there's so many. I have already take a challenge. I want to read 25 books in 2025. I told you. So yeah, and this is about reading. Yeah.
That's interesting. I also made a plan to read this year, and probably I'll read a couple of books. One of them is Hard Things About Hard Things, and rest of the books are there. But I'm not more into reading. I used to read back in the days, but now I lost this all habit. So
Mm.
yeah,
And
if you
yes, yes,
carry
please.
on.
Yeah, you were saying something.
No, I was done with my statement.
Yeah, so I was saying, yeah, today I am watching some book summary. So that is related to writing, power of writing. So that fascinated me. And now, before going to read Psychology of Money and Rich Dad Poor Dad, I want to buy that book. So I'm going to read that book first, then I will read something else because I am somewhere I'm feeling I'm lacking in thinking in English just because of I'm not writing. I got feedback from some tutors also. They told me you have to write something, then you will be able to think in English in a better way. So now I want to write. That is why first I want to read that book. Then maybe from that book I will got some motivation and I will get to know about some positive things about writing. So I am going to read that book first.
That's essential. When you
Mm,
got better at speaking, then
mm,
focus more on writing. That this is the second um,
mm.
way of output. We have done a lot of things to input to fill our brain with information, but we don't
Mm.
focus more on output like
Yeah.
speaking and writing.
Correct.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm focusing on three pillars: reading, reading, listening, speaking. But writing is missing. So I want to write also. I want to make my English very much good. Like I want to become very fluent speaker.
Mm.
That is my aim.
That's nice. That's nice. You took a vow to complete Paris book this year. Hopefully, you'll complete by the end of the year. And
Yeah.
if you have to ask something, you may ask me in a jiffy because I have a session to give probably after a few minutes. Or
Yeah.
shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, now we can wrap it up and we will connect again maybe in future with a different topic and it is also lovely session. I enjoyed a lot talking to you. And thank you so much for joining me today.
So did I. And it was nice speaking to you. Thank you for connecting with me today as well. And many, many thanks to you. Take care.
Okay, bye bye.